It's not a good idea to put stabilizer up there then.
We strongly do not recommend.
Yeah, it sounded really different if you put the stabilizer.
Did you
Yeah,
notice
yeah,
that
yeah,
from
yeah,
85?
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We recommend that our amplifier or our amplifier to be firmly placed on very firm and solid plates or the rack.
Yeah,
And,
I put actually steel point under ATC5. It's steel, so I think it sounded better than putting rubber material.
okay, that's up to a customer to
Right.
decide.
It's fine just to put it by itself.
Yes.
That's the best.
We hope that a customer will start from that, and then if he feel it's better to have insulator underneath the amplifier, it's their choice to install. But we would like to suggest that customers start from putting it on the firm and solid surface. This will maximize use of this resonance we try to use in this amplifier.
How about tube rolling? Is it a good idea to use different tubes?
That's fun part of using a tube amplifier.
Exactly.
Yes, you're free to use tubes, but we need to make sure that your tube is really meeting the specification. Let's say on this amplifier we use 12AX7
Right.
and 12AU7.
Oh, it has AU7 as well.
Yes, so we just want to make sure that this 12AU7 that you would like to install is a real 12AU7. Because some manufacturer say it's 12AU7, but actually they're not really made to the specification. I can't really say who is that, but
You're talking about the currently manufacturing
That's
tubes.
correct, yes.
How about NOS? Old-
vintage tubes,
Yeah.
they always sounds better. I hate to say this, but if you have any NOS tubes, you should try. Put it on and your sound will be much better. And nowadays, because of the Russian invasion to Ukraine, we decided not to buy any Russian tubes
Okay.
until ceasefire or we see any end of the invasion.
Then you don't have much choice with the.
Right, so we have to use some of the vintage stock tube we had as my father's collections, or Puspan,
Yeah.
Chinese, or JJ
Yeah.
from Slovakia
Right.
for making our amplifier. But that makes our job very difficult.
So you gotta start out from there, and then you can use different.
Yes, and I think the beauty of tube amplifier, as I say, is a tube rolling.
Yeah.
And depending on what tubes to use, you will be able to really change the sound of the amplifier. And if you have a good tubes, you'll be able to really upgrade your sound.
Right.
Like not preamp, but for power amp, changing power tubes such as 300B,
Right.
EL34, KT88, or 211
Yeah.
really makes the sounds different. It's funny that maybe 30, 40 years ago, 300B tubes, no one was making the tubes. So the tube was considered as a discontinued and
right.
kind of not available.
Right.
But now, if you look at the manufacturer, you have a Western Electric
Right.
in the United States, Takatsuki in Japan, L-Log in Germany, Pusbang in China. They're all making tubes.
Right.
And our 300B amplifier, if you have our 300B amplifier, you can just swap the tubes,
Right.
enjoy different sound every time.
Over ATC5,
Yes.
ATC7, what are the differences structurally?
Structurally, we have about the same structural design, similar monocoque shaped chassis
Right.
built from 1.4 millimeters carbon steel and painted with automobile quality paint. It's the same. And the inner chassis suspended from the roof of the chassis
Right.
is the same. But ATC7, as I explained, the inner chassis is electrically isolated.
Right.
And if you compare the sound, I think you will have more reality of music from this preamplifier.
Yeah.
And sound with reality and more structure, and you might feel more air to the sound.
A lot of people are wondering why it doesn't have the balanced input or output.
This preamp is equipped with XLR input, 2-channel,
Yeah.
and as an option we can have XLR output, but it's all unbalanced.
Yeah.
Not balanced.
Yeah.
We have a reason. We receive so many requests from distributors around the world to have the balanced XLR input and output
Right.
on our amplifier. So we test it all. I mean, we even make 3 different kind of unbalanced to balanced conversions or balance to unbalanced converter by yourself, but we just couldn't compete with the unbalanced RCA. Vacuum tube amplifier in nature is a high impedance circuit. So if you have a balanced input, you have to convert low impedance to high impedance circuit. And doing that, you have to use a little transformer. We spend so many hours and effort in making good sound, but all your effort will go through this little tiny transformer just to convert the signal from high impedance to low impedance. And as you know, transformer has a limited bandwidth, which your lows and high will be round off. So your sound will lose freshness, in our opinion. And so we tested everything, but we concluded that it doesn't sound any good. And we didn't feel comfortable to equip such just to use balanced cable, just for use of a balanced cable.
With RCA, unbalanced cable, you cannot use it for long distance, right?
Well, RCA cable, in our opinion, as long as you have good seal around the cable, you will be able to extend close to 10 meters without picking up the noise. But some audio, what's called high-end audio cable, has very few or almost no seals around the cable. Of course, it's a vacuum tube is a high impedance equipment, so if there's no seal on the cable, they will pick up noise. But we use crosslink, which is a cordless crosslink, which is very standard, not expensive audio cable. And we use the cable for all the shows in Japan, but the longest we have is a 7 meter. And we never had a problem. So I think people concern too much about picking up the cable, and some say balance is better, but we're not really in agreement with that because your home is not like a broadcasting station with a 1,000 cable in the one cable tray or something like that. So chance of you picking up the noises along the cable, it must be very small.
Recently, a lot of people use wireless devices and they make a lot of noises. So with turntables, we gotta be careful that it doesn't make problem with picking up noise and so on.
Right. From cartridge maybe to your step-up transformer is a very critical, and that's where most of the noises are picked up when you're doing analog. But we are using SME's tone arm a lot, and their cable do have a very good seal along the cable. And I think we strongly suggest that people to choose well-sealed cable instead of going to very high-end cable, which tend to have a very few seals.